All right, Federico, I'm here to return a favor. I'm here to return a favor in the surprise world to you. But first, I want to let everybody know that our sponsor for this wonderful episode of MacStories Unwind is Collide. How you doing today, Federico?
That is such a great cold open. I loved it.
It's different,
I'm
different.
I'm doing great, and I cannot wait. John has been teasing me for weeks about this mysterious surprise that came from Germany. I have no
Yes.
idea what to expect. I feel like I've done my fair share of surprises. The next thing I'm working on, I've decided to put it out in the open. So if you follow me on Threads, you may have seen I've been busy ripping my entire GameCube library of using a modded Nintendo Wii. I didn't want to keep it a surprise because I'm done with surprises for a while. But John kept one from me,
I
and
did. I did.
the only thing I know, so listeners, the only thing I know is that it's something for his desk. That's the only thing I know. Now, could it be a lamp? Could it be a keyboard? Could it be a monitor? Could it be a chair? I don't know.
You don't know.
I just know that it came from Germany.
All right. All right. I am going to send you a picture in just a moment.
Oh my
But the
god.
reason I have been keeping this from you for so long
Yes.
is in part because, first of all, I hemmed and hawed about whether to make this purchase for quite a while. I finally pulled the trigger, and it turns out a lot of other people did too, because I did it like about 2 weeks before Christmas. And I figured, I'm ordering this right before Christmas, small company, it's going to take a little while for this thing to come. And it turns out an awful lot of people did the same thing I did. They got a little overwhelmed, and I only just got this like less than a week ago. So it was a long anticipated wait for me too. I'm going to drop a photograph to start this for you in iMessage. And I will tell you right off the top before I hit go here is that a lot of the surprise is hidden.
What?
The whole concept of this surprise is the things that you don't see as much as the things that you do see. So with that,
What?
I have
What
sent
does
you,
what does that even mean? Okay.
with that, I have sent Federico a picture of my
Okay,
desk.
let's see. Let me open this
And
file.
you can see now we have shared our desktops, our desk setups, which we did in December. And
There's
so
there's nothing new
Federico's,
here. There's nothing new here.
I had a feeling you would say that. That's why I want to.
Let me describe this picture. These are all items that I knew you were using. So there's the left side should be your weird Android e-ink tablet,
Yep.
headphones, Elgato Wave XLR, your iPhone with standby, the sound sticks, the Mac Studio, Magic Trackpad, Magic Keyboard, Logitech Lift Mouse, the BenQ Lite, the Studio Display, the Loop Deck, the iPad Pro on a stand, the Anker Prime battery, and a coffee mug.
A coffee mug, yes.
What?
All right. What I will tell you is new here. If you were to go back to the setup article, you will see that shelf in the middle of the desk is new.
Okay, so your surprise is a shelf?
It is. It is. I didn't tell you that this is as good
A
as your
shelf?
surprise. But it's not just any shelf.
Okay.
If you look carefully at this shelf,
There's stuff inside, like
there's
underneath the monitor.
there's stuff all over the shelf because desk shelves are kind of all over the place. There are a bunch of companies that make these, relatively low, wide shelves that you can put a computer monitor on and raise your screen. And they've never really appealed to me. I've always been able to get my chair and my screen at a level that works for me without that. But over the holidays, I started thinking about a couple of things. I started thinking about the fact that my desk got really messy, and a lot
Yeah.
of it
Oh,
was,
this is very tidy, I should say. It's a very nice looking setup.
yeah, it's very tidy. And so I started thinking, why is it that it gets like that? And part of it was that things that I need on a regular basis just weren't close by enough. So I would go grab things and I'd leave them on my desk because I knew I would need them again really soon. And so I had a lot of little things that were getting strewn across my desk, and I had no good place to put them. And so what I did was I bought this shelf because unlike your standard desk shelf, it has an attachment point system built into it on the underside. So what you are seeing And I will send you some more pictures as we go through this. All right, Federico. So I just sent you a picture of the left side. It's a little more of a close up, so you'll get a better sense for what I've got.
Oh,
And
there's you can hang stuff
yeah, and so
off of it?
people, I will mention too, Federico, that this is going to be part of an update to my desk setup, and I'll have a post on the website when this episode goes up, so everybody can see the pictures by going there and checking it out. Now, what it does is, so on the very far left, I've got a headphone holder. It's just a bracket that screws into the underside of the shelf, and I can put my podcasting headphones on there. It's got a little hole that goes through the metal bracket that allows me to fish the headphone cable through there and connect it to my audio interface. And now it's a
Oh,
very simple thing, but because my audio interface and my headphones are now close together, I can just leave them plugged in, which is one of the things that drove me crazy
yes.
before, is that I had my headphones hanging underneath my desk, and they were just far enough away that I couldn't leave them plugged in, and they kinda got in my way. So there's that. That's attachment number 1. Attachment number 2 is an iPhone holder. It's a place to put one of the Qi pucks, the big round
Yeah.
pucks that work with the iPhone, and that sits kind of to the left of the shelf, and I can put my phone in there in standby and have it up off the desk,
Wow.
which
You got a modular shelf.
I got that. This is why I thought you might like this, because this
Oh,
has
I
got
love this. I love this.
this is very teachy modular.
You were
It
right. It's a surprise that keeps revealing itself the more
it
you look at
does.
it.
It does. Now, I've told you about the left side. I am
Okay.
going to tell you, I'm gonna send you another picture
Let's see the right side.
of the dead center of
Oh, the
this,
center. Okay, now the center.
which is my absolute favorite part,
Okay.
which is a bracket that holds my Loop Deck Live
Oh my god,
S.
it was floating?
It's floating above the
Oh, I
desk.
didn't notice in the first picture.
Everything is off the desk, Federico. That's the theme here. So the
Including
Loop
the
Deck,
Mac Studio? No, the Mac Studio is not floating.
no, it is not. It is shoved under the desk. It fits with just a little
Okay.
bit of clearance. And so the Loop Deck Live is both elevated off the desk, and because it's at the front of the shelf, it's just beyond and above my keyboard. So it serves now almost the same purpose as a function row on a keyboard, because it's so close. It's as easy to tap those buttons as it is to tap the
I
function row
see.
on my key. And that is going to be nice, because I haven't spent a lot of time with it yet, but I'm going to do a lot more with the Loop Deck, which is a lot like a Stream Deck for people who don't know,
Do I
to
spy one
automate.
of those? Do I spy one of those 90-degree angled USB-C connectors?
Yes, you do.
Mm,
There are elements of this that are inspired by Federico. In order to
very
keep,
nice.
I have done a lot of cable management here, including using right angle USB-C cables to keep the cables from looping and, making them kinda ugly and in the way. So I use a 90-degree one there, so it goes straight underneath, and then there's some cable management on the back of the shelf where I can kinda snake the wires. These wires, plug into what is also part of the surprise, but we'll get to that in a second. Above my studio display is the BenQ hoverbar halo,
Yeah.
screen bar halo, I should say, that I reviewed recently on MacStories, which I like because the control for it is that black knob to the left of my screen, which uses Bluetooth to control the light. So eliminated a wire there, which I was very happy about. All right, let's move on to the right side of the desk. I am
Okay.
going to send you another picture. You get to see my
These pictures keep
beautiful
coming.
red coffee mug, which is like one of those stainless steel insulated numbers, which is quite nice. But the reason I'm sending you is not to show you the mug, but to show you a
There's a hidden compartment, and there's a floating Apple Watch charger.
there.
Um,
Yes, yes, that is another one of the
yeah,
accessories. It's another bracket that floats
another
off the
bracket.
right side. Floats
Okay.
off the right side. It has a little 3M sticky to stick an Apple Watch charging puck there. Another thing that I found before I got this, was that I was always having to go find an Apple Watch charger, and because I only have to charge my Ultra a couple of times every couple of days, and then it would like sit on my desk and it would get in the way, and I'd bump it and knock it off the charger and all this stuff. Now it is elevated at the height of the shelf on the right-hand side, and I can just drop my Apple Watch or my AirPods right on that little puck, and it charges away.
That's
The
great. I
And
really
that
like
I like a
this.
lot too. The the piece that you're seeing, the hidden compartment, there's a little shelf that a shelf within a shelf that hangs
It's a shelf within a shelf.
that hangs below the wooden shelf.
It's
This is
also
black.
floating.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's black, it's metal with like a felt liner, to
Okay.
make it soft, and it's very narrow, as you can see, and what I've done here is this is the place for all the little things that I was
Okay.
talking about that got in the way. I put my glasses in here, got
Okay.
glasses case. You'll see there's a little tray in the picture, it's sitting on the desk
With the
itself.
AirPods?
Yeah, that tray is also very shallow. I actually am keeping it on the shelf now, but it's just got a handful of things in it, like a a short USB-C cable, a
Mm,
pen, my wallet, my AirPods, a little microfiber cloth, just a handful of little things that I need from time to time. And, well, I'll get to the other stuff that's hidden down there. But that's the other things that are new are the arm that the iPad is on. It was
okay.
previously on a Hoverbar Duo, which was on a stand sitting on my desk. This is an arm by a company, I don't remember the name, but I'll put it in the show notes, that goes a lot higher and is very stiff, which I like, and it's not held on there with a clamp, it's held on with magnets, which
Ah, nice.
makes the iPad Pro much easier to take off and use in other contexts. And there too, I have got a right angle USB-C cable that then snakes through the arm itself and plugs into the little electrical outlet that you see there popping through the desk, the little round
Mm,
spot there. The Anchor battery is new too. That's one that you inspired me to get.
nice.
So it's the same one
Nice.
that you've got.
I love that. This is your kingdom now.
It really,
You have all
Jennifer,
your
Jennifer looked at this and she said, "Are you done now?"
all the floating things. I
Right.
love it. I love it. It's the desk version of my iPad Pro with all the floating stuff attached to the back of the Magic Keyboard. Now here you have a floating loop deck, and you have MagSafe, and you have the Apple Watch, and the big shelf and little shelf. Like this is great. This is great.
This episode of MacStories Unwind is brought to you by Collide. When you go through airport security, there's one line where the TSA agent checks your ID and another line where your machine scans your bag. The same thing happens in enterprise security, but instead of passengers and luggage, it's users and their devices. These days, most companies are pretty good at the first part of the equation, where they check the user's identity, but user devices can roll right through authentication without getting inspected at all. In fact, 47% of companies allow unmanaged, untrusted devices to access their data. That means an employee can log in from a laptop that has its firewall turned off and hasn't been updated in 6 months. Or worse, that laptop might belong to a bad actor using the employee's credentials. Collide finally solves the device trust problem. Collide ensures that no device can log into your Okta protected apps unless it passes your security check. Plus, you can use Collide on devices without MDM, like your Linux fleet, contractor devices, and BYOD phone and laptop in your company. Visit collide.com/MacStoriesUnwind to watch a demo and see how it works. That's KOLIDE.com/MacStoriesUnwind. Our thanks to Collide for their support of the show. And so I will say a couple other things. One, I do not the Tab Ultra, which is my weird e-ink tablet that
Yes.
runs Android. It doesn't sit on my desk all the time. I use it
Okay.
on and off, and so I just put it there so that you could see that that's where it goes. Now, are you still looking at the picture from the right-hand side of the desk?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Look at the bookshelf. You're seeing one of the hidden things. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see some cables.
Oh, did you get one of those smart power strips?
Oh, well, this one is not, but I have there's a lot of power stuff going on here. So,
Okay.
I will tell you a little bit about the hidden stuff. Before we get to the bookcase, I wanna mention underneath the desk, I have a cable management tray. In that cable management tray is a Ross smart, power strip.
Okay,
So
so
it's
not
got
another shelf. There's not a third shelf.
no, there's not a third shelf,
Okay.
but that works with HomeKit. It's also got, in addition just to electrical outlets, it has USB-C A ports. So the desk itself that has those power outlets embedded in the surface, as well as the BenQ light and another item that I'll mention in a second, are all plugged into the Miros so that I can very quickly and easily turn things off. I don't have to have power delivered to the iPad constantly. I can set up automations to turn things on and off, have that light above my screen turn on in the morning when I get up in the morning, and it's just there when I come down. It's already turned on because I can power the USB-A ports with it, with the Miros. So that's been very nice to have because it gives me more automation control over the lights in the room. The other thing under the desk, I got a Samsung T9 SSD, which is a portable fast SSD. I
Nice.
think it uses USB-C 3.2, and that is doing carbon copy cloner backups of the Mac Studio. The Philips Hue gradient tube light you see kind of sitting on the back edge of the the shelf on the desk is not new, but it's there. It's shining light up
Mm,
against the wall. It gives me nice backlighting. The sound sticks, the Harman Kardon sound sticks, I've had for a very long time, but haven't used in a long time. So those were added back, and they are connected to a Belkin. I will forget the name of this. It's the Belkin accessory that lets you use AirPlay with wired speakers. So I am able to AirPlay to those speakers and don't have to rely on lossy Bluetooth or a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Then under the desk, there is also a 2.5 gigabit per second switch.
nice.
So what I have
Okay.
done, and this is something that we will talk about at some point, I had some issues with Wi-Fi when I first moved into this place, and once I got it working with my desktop machine, I just kind of abandoned it for a while because I had too many other things to deal with, and so I didn't go to figure out what the problem was. I finally solved those problems, and so now I can have fast wired internet to the Mac Studio. There is a Ethernet cable snaked to that little shelf that, the secondary shelf on the desk, so I can quickly attach it to the MacBook Pro. And you may say, "John, but wait, there's no Ethernet on a MacBook Pro." I have a Satechi Thunderbolt to modem Ethernet
Wow.
adapter that does over 2 gigabit per second speed. So I have full speed there. And I've got another cable hidden just next to the audio interface, which is going to be for my KiloView N40
Ah, nice.
NDI device, which takes an HDMI input and outputs it over either wirelessly
Yeah.
or over Ethernet, to an app, which you and I will probably get into that a lot more
Yes.
soon, but it does allow me to do things like play my Switch on my studio display, which is kind of cool. The final thing under the desk is I've had for a couple of years a Ugreen charger, which has 4 USB-C ports that charge it at least. It depends on the combination of things plugged in, but they can deliver up to about 100 watts per USB-C, and then it's got a couple of USB-As, and that is Velcroed to the underside of the desk, so I can get it from the front edge of the desk, plug everything in, stack it up on my desk, and charge everything just like that.
Wow. This is incredible. Okay.
So now we're gonna make one last tour, Federico.
To the bookcase.
We're gonna move to the bookcase, and the bookcase
Okay.
has also been what I would call a problem area for me at times,
Hmm.
because it's very easy to stack things up on it and for it to become messy. And so I have changed what I'm doing here. I'm not 100% satisfied yet with it, but I think I've got made some progress. What you will notice on the bookcase is first you'll notice a giant yellow finger on the top of the bookcase.
Yes. Okay.
That
Drexel.
is
Okay.
it says Drexel. Calvin gave that to me for Christmas, so I've put it up there. I don't know why he got me a foam finger, but he did. And when I mentioned that you saw some cables before, I've got a bunch of stuff powered up there on top of that bookcase. I took I got a small power strip that has both USB-A and regular electrical outlets. I'm only using the electrical outlets, but it also has surge protection. And that is powering my Wi-Fi 6E router up there, which you can kind of see behind the finger.
Yeah.
That is that has been moved from a closet where it was doing a pretty bad job of delivering fast Wi-Fi because it was closed up under the stairs in a closet. And now it's elevated at, above on a bookshelf where it can both blanket my office much better and connect more easily to the second floor where the next,
Nice.
mesh router happens to be. So that's up there. My Home Assistant Green is up there and
Wow.
my Echo Bee security camera, which keeps an eye on my office. So I had to have and there's another Philips Hue gradient light up there. So I had to power 4 things up there, and so that's why I've got a surge protector attached to the back of my bookshelf in a way that is hidden basically from view unless you're sitting at my desk, in which case
Mm.
I can look over and I can see some of the things that are plugged
Right.
in.
Right.
So there's that. But I will just highlight a couple of the other things here. I put the subwoofer for the Harman Kardon sound sticks on one of the shelves, which is a pretty good place for it, I
It
think.
looks great.
If you look in the middle of the bookcase, there's a big blank space with nothing on it. You
There's
know
a
what that
there's a there's a pig.
there is a metal pig. That's a metal pig bank that my mother gave me that has my WWC magnetic pins attached to
Okay.
it at the moment. But you know what that big blank space is for?
For the Vision Pro.
That's for the Vision Pro. Because
Yes.
I had that moment like a week ago when Jennifer said, "Where are you gonna put this thing?" And I thought to myself, "Yeah, where am I gonna put that thing?"
Good question.
So that's where I'm gonna put that thing.
Nice. Now a
Yeah.
bunch of controllers, some amiibo. So let's
Yep.
see. I see. Let me guess. Anodin, 8-bit do controller, a DualShock 4.
Yeah, the DualShock is there because what one of the things I decided to do, and this is more for looks than it is here, I'll send you this picture. I have decided that one of my things I'm going to collect, to the extent I'm gonna collect it.
Controllers.
Oh, well, specifically, uh, transparent tech.
Ah.
This is the
Oh,
transparent
look
tech
at that.
corner. So
Oh, I love it.
so you can see
DualShock.
the
Is that
right,
is that
and
is that a split Nintendo Switch controller?
it is. Remember when we bought those ones that looked like GameCube controllers?
Oh, yeah, yeah, from that
I s
company.
Yeah, that company, I saw these, I was like, "Oh, I
Is
have to
it
have those."
Nixie? Is that Nixie?
Nixie, that's the one,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and this has all kinds of RGB lights in it as well.
Oh, cool. You're a real
And
gamer.
oh, yeah, yeah. So I've got that
Wow.
there along with
Look
my
at
iPod.
that. Look at this picture. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah,
Steam
so
Deck, obviously. Yeah, bunch of law books up
yeah, I never
there.
knew what to do with those. Somebody gave me those. Those are like, those were I think those were my grandfather's actually, and I don't know why he
Wow.
had those. But he had these, they're really old law books. So I
This is
figured,
great.
as a tribute to my past, I would leave some law books on my
Sure.
shelf.
Sure. This is great. This must have been a lot of work too, especially waiting for the shelf from Germany.
Yeah, the shelf from Germany. It turned out to be okay because my office was occupied with one of my kids during the holidays,
Right.
so there wasn't gonna be any setting up happening then. But then I worked really hard on this, like, a week ago where I got everything figured out, and I should mention too, I'm using these ties to hold back the wires, which I sent you a link to it, and I'll put them in the show notes. They're basically elastic loops with a toggle holder on them, like the kind of toggle you see on backpacks or camping gear
Mhm.
sometimes, where you can just kind of press it and then slide it. And then they work extremely well for managing cables or just holding other cables together. So I did a lot of that. I did putting up a lot of those and spent a lot of time thinking about the all the cables and the right where I needed right angles, and I do still have a little bit of a cable mess under the desk only because it's a standing desk, so I need a little slack in cables so things don't get pulled out or lifted off the floor and things or pulled out of plugs. But it's much neater than it was before, so
Yeah.
I'm much happier with it now too.
Well, I mean, yeah, well done. This is a I was not initially I thought, "Oh, you just got a shelf." But
Yeah, well, and that's the thing
it's
here. It's
much
like
more involved.
it is, and there's a lot of work that went into what you can't see.
Yeah,
This is why
yeah.
I started out talking about that. And this company called Balolo, I should mention Balolo, makes this shelf, and the expense really comes in how many things you're going to attach to it because it gets expensive fast doing that. They also have things that I did not get that you can attach to this, include things like an iPad holder, and I decided that I wanted the arm because it would hold it up higher anyway. You can get like laptop things that hang off the end and hold them in a vertical orientation. There are a bunch of other things that they have uh,
Mhm.
for attaching things to the shelf. But yeah, I've been pretty happy with it so far. I've only been living with it for about a week now, in its complete form, but it's working well for me.
I love it. Well done. Well done.
All right, well, I think next week, Federico, you and I should get back to some media picks.
Yes,
We're gonna,
we are done. We spent the month of January working on surprises.
yes,
Now, for a short while, the surprises will be done. They will come back at some point.
they will, and we even have some surprises I think in store for people related to the Vision Pro.
Yes, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, I will go back to ripping my own GameCube games. So
Yeah.
that's something I'm doing at the moment.
How many
And
do you have, by the way?
about 20.
Okay, that's
And
a
I'm
pretty good
working on
collection.
filling some. Yeah, it's a very good collection. I'm working on filling some of the gaps. I've bought some. I may have bought like 5 or 6 games from Amazon US because they have a refurbished program like Amazon Renewed, and so
Mhm.
I bought some lesser known games from Amazon US. So I'm filling in some gaps in my collection, but it's already pretty good to begin with because I really was a heavy GameCube player at the time.
Right,
Like it's
right.
my favorite console of all time. So yeah, well, I'll keep you posted on this, on how this
Oh,
goes.
yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it, and, well, of course, since well, hopefully, by the time we record again, we'll have our Vision Pros, we'll have had some time to spend with some of the entertainment and media stuff that comes along with that and be able to report to people what it's like to watch maybe the Mario movie in 3D
Hmm.
or, some of these
Avatar.
special
I'm gonna watch
Avatar.
Avatar.
Did you see Neil Patel got sick watching Avatar?
I won't get sick. James Cameron
Okay.
never makes me sick. I can
Okay.
guarantee you that. I won't be
All
sick.
right.
I will be happy,
All
not
right.
sick.
All right. All right. Well, we'll see how that goes for you. I read that and I thought of you, but I know you'll try anyway. So good luck. Luck with Avatar. I want to thank our sponsor for this episode, which is Collide. You can find me and Federico over at MacStories.net. We're on Mastodon. Just go to Viticci.MacStories.net and JohnVorhees.MacStories.net to find us there. We're on Threads and Instagram too. Federico is at Viticci. That's Viticci. And I'm at John Voorhees. JohnVoorhees. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.